really fantastic looking dish when you're going to plate it. So what we can do now is we're in great shape. We're going to leave this, and we're going to get started on our pork rib recipe.
Super. Where are the ribs? What do they do?
Well, as you can see here on the skeleton, the human ribs are arranged so that they're in a row like a set of keys on a piano, with bones and then spaces in between. When you go to the store to buy your meat, the bones are present, but in between the bones are layers of muscle, and that's the meat that you eat. And these muscles are arranged in different directions and to connect the bones, and in life they're used during breathing.
Are there a lot of differences between cow and pig?
Well, there are differences. Perhaps the biggest and most obvious difference is size. The cows tend to be, cow ribs are going to tend to be a little larger, and depending on the age of the pig, which can be smaller or larger, they'll be a little bit smaller. They'll both have a very similar appearance, though the pork ribs tend to be quite a bit smaller.
So one of my favorite cuts of meat is prime rib. What's that?
Well, it does contain the rib, but it also contains the muscles of the back. And of course, the back muscles are rather large and in these animals, and makes a pretty good steak.
Well, Gary, our short ribs are in the oven, sauce is reduced, and now it's time to move on to these beautiful pork ribs.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Mrs. Gelfand. We've got Gary. I promise he's not going to eat any of these, but what we need to do first is we need to cut these ribs, and I'm going to get you to use your surgical talents to do that. And I should just say that if you're going to do these in one big long rack, what you want to do is you might want to try and get your hands to get this fiber off of the inside of the rib, because it's going to prevent, this is what's going to cause them to be a little bit on the chewy or difficult side. But for our recipe now, it's perfect because it's going to, each rib's going to be individual. So I'm going to get you to start the surgical part of that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to,
you got a knife for me?
I do have a knife for you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process for how we're going to finish these ribs in the oven. And because we're doing them in the oven and not barbecuing, we really need to give them a little bit of texture. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to whisk up about 5 or 6 eggs here. And we've got some breadcrumbs that we've crushed, and we're going to get these so that they're nice and crispy before we put a nice gooey coating on them. Now, how are you doing there?
Your other knife was sharper.
Oh, okay, well...
But surgeons aren't supposed to blame their instruments.
Well, no, that's true, and as long as we know that what you're using on a day-to-day basis is sharper than what we're doing these pork ribs, I'm sure your patients will be happy. I'm just going to whisk up these eggs. Now, the thing about barbecue sauces is that, again, what we want is we want a nice mixture of hot, we want some salt, we want, in some cases, we want some citrus, and that's why barbecue sauces are different. All around the world, everyone from house to house has a different barbecue sauce. So I'm sure you've heard of sauces where they use things like ketchup or Coca-Cola or whatever. And that's what we're looking for here as well, is we really want to get some sort of a combination of savory and some heat. So what I've got now is I've got these the egg wash, and Gary's just going to finish cutting these ribs into nice pieces. And again, what you want is exactly what he's doing, is to cut them on the rib so that everybody gets a nice sort of a perfect hand size sort of a piece of rib to use, because these are going to be nice and sticky, gooey to eat with your hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to assemble the sauce that goes with this, which needs to be reduced for a little bit. And again, what we really want to talk about here is the fact that all of these sauces are individual. Whatever you want to put into it at home, like I say, if you want to put Tabasco, you want to put ketchup, you want to put Coke, whatever you're using would be fine. All we need is a little pot like this. I'm going to get the burner on. What we want is we want to put a little bit of fluid into it. We want about a cup of white vinegar.
So now you want me to just dump these in the...
Yeah, if you could just put them in the egg wash and then roll them in the breadcrumbs, and then got a nice tray to put into the oven. And what we want here, again, is we want to get some texture on these ribs. So before we put the sauce on them, we're actually going to give them a nice sort of a beardy coating of breadcrumbs.
Can I put that in the surgical field?
Yeah, you can put that in the surgical field. Okay. So I've got some onion and some white vinegar, about a cup of white vinegar, about one nice whole onion, a cup of white sugar, and that's going to give us our sweet. What you're looking for this recipe is something really homey and something that's going to be sticky and gooey. And I'm just going to use a can of good old tomato soup, just poured right into there. because of the vinegar and the sugar, it's really going to smell like a classic sort of a sweet and sour sauce that you'd get, you know, in a you know, sort of a Cantonese Chinese restaurant. So this sauce is now on, and what you want to do is you want to simmer this for about an hour or an hour and a half, get it really thick, because what we want is we want these ribs to be ultra super gooey when they come out of the oven, after they come out the first time with this, as I say, this really nice crunchy coating. How are we doing there?
We're getting there. I'm just about done.
Okay, and I'm just going to grab one of these.
Okay.
You can see that what we've got is we've got a really nice coating there. Now that's going to absorb some of this beautiful sauce when we get it, like I said, we want it nice and goopy. And so, you know, really nice breadcrumb egg mixture, very simple. And at this point I wouldn't season the ribs with salt and pepper. I just leave them because this is going to be seasoned, and you can always put a little bit of salt on the ribs when you put them out. The first batch of ribs you're going to put in the oven, you want about 350-degree oven, and you want to put them in there for about an hour, get a nice crunchy brown coating. And so this time I'm going to help you over to the oven.
Okay.
Get it opened up and ready for you. And if you want to just slide those in.
Okay.
And again, we've done a little bit of prep, and just give you some idea of what these ribs will look like after they've been in the oven for about an hour. But what you want to do now is to finish these and to make them really, really gooey, sticky, is you want to put this beautiful barbecue sauce that we've got made. Now I've made one and reduced it a little earlier, and it is the desired thickness now, and nice and thick. And now all you want to do is you just want to take it and literally just cover these so that we have a beautiful finger sticky sauce on them. Now, in terms of ribs at this point, you want to put this back in the oven again until they get nice and sticky. Probably about another hour. You can't overdo these, and you know, they're going to be nicely coated.
You can or can't overdo.
You can't really overdo them at this point, and especially with this nice gooey sauce on them. And you know, it's just it's really a delicious way to make any sort of a meat that you've got coated like this, to get something nice and sweet and sticky on the outside. Chinese have been doing it for thousands of years, and so you get sort of a nice fusiony mix here. So with these are ready to go, back into the oven, 350 degrees, again, about an hour. Again, you have to take a look at them, see when they're glazing up. And Gary, ready to go. And there we go. So we're here, and we've got everything in the oven and ready to go. And when we come back, we're going to show you how to finish off the short ribs, and we're going to take those beautiful pork ribs out, and I hope you can take a good ribbing.
Excellent.
Well, Gary, we're back with our beautiful Zinfandel braised short ribs, and how's our sauce coming down there? It's reduced?
It smells terrific.
Well, let's get at it then. Reduce the heat down. That's been reduced down to about a cup and a half. What we've done is we've taken our beautiful roasted, slow roasted root vegetables and peppers, got them on the plate, and arranged them in a nice colorful way. And then what we want to do to plate this, Gary, is really simple. Take some nice, beautifully braised short ribs, put them on the plate, and then we're going to finish them with some of this beautiful sauce, which those vegetables will just soak up so beautifully, and everything is going to have that beautiful glazy texture to it. And one more little sauce.
Don't go light on the sauce.
I won't go light on the sauce, I know, because you're not going to have any of the pork ribs, so I'm going to make sure that these are perfectly done the way you want them. And now for the pork ribs, which have been in our oven for about an hour. And what you want is you want them to be nice and caramely, and that is what we have got. You can see how beautiful and sticky that is. It's actually caramelized around the outside, and you can see how gooey and wonderful these are. And to plate this is a kind of a sharing dish, so I would just get a nice big plate like this and basically peel these off. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. Gorgeously chewy and caramely. And again, sorry, Gary, you're going to have to take
were I ever to flinch, I would be tempted with these, but...
Well, I'm glad that I could tempt you anyway. I think that's come a long way. And these are just perfectly done. And like I say, they're really nice and sticky. I think the only thing you'd want to serve these with, frankly, is something for people to wipe their fingers with. And otherwise, these are perfectly done. So, here we go. We need to arm ourselves appropriately.
Thank
and
you.
Now we're going to have a little taste. So
Sure.
here's to tasting our Zinfandel braised short ribs and our beautifully glazed pork ribs. Get you the appropriate medical tools, a scalpel and a fork. And mine are meant to be eaten with the fingers, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So help yourself and let us know how it tastes.
I've been waiting a long time for this.
Anticipation.
Yeah.
Boy, is that good.
I'm glad to hear it, and I'm just going to take myself a nice little bite of
That
this
is
sticky, gooey
spectacular.
rib. Oh. Well,
That is really good.
a successful day in the kitchen with a chef and a surgeon. And thanks for coming, Gary. And
Thanks very much, Alan. It's been a pleasure.
hey, I'll see you next time. Take care.